Okay, let's take a look. Doing some VOD reviews. How do you do this? Wow, that's quick.
Welcome to Junkertown. Ready for battle.
You are F1.
Not my idea of the good life.
Okay, just skip a little bit. This is so cool.
Ready for...
Hey. Hey.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey.
Let's just see how what that does, if anything.
Stop the payload.
Have orb back.
Watch your back.
Preparing the damage.
Okay. There are way less risky methods to get early ult charge in the beginning of a fight. Doesn't look like that did anything for you. Yeah. So orbs like that, I've seen ML7 use orbs like this sometimes. It's not like they're terrible, but when the enemy can see the orb coming, or when the enemy sees an orb in a very predictable spot, that, well, not predictable spot, but if they see the orb, they're not going to run into it if they don't have another option. 50 Shades, thanks so much for the sub. Thank you for the 2 months. Really appreciate it. Yeah, so I would just go for longer range spawn door orbs that are a bit more consistent. Because if the enemy sees the orb there, they're going to stay away from it generally. You want to put the orb in a spot... Okay, I don't really know how to... Oh. This is so cool. Okay.
Ready for battle. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Oh, well, I mean, it might...
Stop the payload.
I don't think it would have gotten charge anyway.
Preparing the damage.
I guess I'll just show you where I think the better spot would be. How do you, like, go free camera here? So a good orb spot is you're standing right here on this little high ground. You aim at the top of the door. I don't have a cursor to show, but you can aim right between these two lights, like right here. You see this little point? If you aim there, it's going to be at a slightly downward angle, and I will be the free camera orb. So traveling over here, you hit this right as the doors open, and then it bounces downward like that, sort of. And this is much harder to detect and avoid because it's going the same direction that the enemy's exiting the spawn doors, and they're likely not going to see it because the spawn doors kind of give you a limited view. I mean, they may see it, but it doesn't really matter. It's probably going to end up hitting them. Wait, okay.
My condition is in
Now, let's just go back a little bit to look at what's going on here when the game starts.
Watch your back.
preparing the damage.
Okay, so you faded back. You see ball on the right side.
Watch your back.
Little 360. Oh, that Ana got a huge nade. Okay, let's see. Healing orb here. Yeah, that was a decent healing orb. You didn't...
My condition is improved.
I don't really have anything to say yet, I guess. Good healing. That was a really good, another good healing orb. I don't really have any issues yet. Zarya bubbled you. That's okay. So Zarya bubbled you, and you didn't really take advantage of that bubble. That's a lot of free space that Zarya just gave you that you could have been a little more aggressive with. Yeah, because you're pretty much invincible. You need to know the timings, like how long you can stand with the bubble until you start taking damage. But yeah, you could have been a little more aggressive there. Oh, jeez. I don't know where that Reinhardt came from. But that positioning was also not the best. Where you faded. Let's see.
I'm restoring.
Yeah. I would have faded with the rest of your team behind this corner here so you can help them out. By yourself, you're not really that powerful as a Moira. And the fact you just used fade, they're probably, if their team's smart, they're gonna rush in this room and try and get you. I definitely would have faded back around the corner with your team so you can help them. Yeah, the moment fade came off cooldown there, you should have faded back to your team. You got slept and then punished with the charge. So, the reason I think you died there is because you did not fade to safety when your team was at a disadvantage. That's, yeah. So, first death, improper fade usage, and positioning, I guess.
Coalescence is charging. Group up.
Need to get used to this.
This will restore you. Become Carola. Your power.
That's very risky.
Surrender to my will.
Oh my god, that bubble.
Pass this forward. Double.
Okay.
Surrender to my will. This will restore you.
This fade is really not good, just because your team hasn't killed anyone yet. They're gonna be, the enemy team is really starting to come on to your team and be super aggressive. They need healing. Also, now you're down your only escape ability. If this Ana lands a sleep or a nade, you're probably gonna die. A nade for her would be super easy. I can't remember if she already used it or not. Oh, she did. Okay, she already used nade. I'm not sure if that was before or after you used fade.
This will restore you.
Oh, you faded in response to the nade? That's acceptable. The fade in response to getting naded, that's totally okay. But going after the Ana, I typically say, oh, thanks for the stream title update. Appreciate it. Thanks, Felipe. Yeah, my go-to motto is just never use fade aggressively until the fight's won. Until you know 100% that the fight's won. You never use fade aggressively. It's your only escape tool. Use it defensively. So a defensive usage would have been to escape the anti-nade effect. That would be fine. That would be totally okay use of fade. But then you went after the Ana, which it was fine. I mean, it ended up being okay, but you wouldn't get away with that in a higher rated game, I would say. I wouldn't think. Like, 99 out of 100, that just wouldn't work. Because that Ana would punish you with a sleep dart. Yeah, I typically only go after Anas when I know that the team fight has been won, because I know that there's a risk of getting slept, I would say.
Become Carola. Your power is mine.
Yeah, you see, your
Surrender to
team
my will.
keeps the voice line going. You see, just as I said before, your team is struggling with their health right now. If you didn't have your ult up at this exact moment, I'm pretty sure your entire team would die. So this is a very lucky series of events, I would say, that your team is managing to live through this. Oh, your Reinhardt ends up dying. Your Zarya protects you from an almost certain death with the bubble. I would say just relying on your teammates too much with this is what I'm seeing as a problem. You don't want to rely on your teammates to bail you out of situations like this. So you want to be in a spot where you're not going to get shattered to begin with.
Pass this
Once
forth.
again, I'm also being pretty critical of this gameplay. Like, I could be less critical. I'm acting like this Moira is going to be playing in like a top 500 game. Of course, I don't know. I don't think it's a problem. I think it's good. So yeah, it was a good coalescence usage. It was very nice that your Zarya was able to bail you out there.
Allow me to repair the damage.
But yeah, just play a little bit more defensively, and
I will
you wanna-
draw the strength from
what am I
your
saying?
pain.
You want to be aggressive only when your team either gives you space or you see a safe opportunity to be aggressive. This is very difficult to learn, but it's pretty much just timing engagements, tracking enemy abilities, so you know when it's a safe time to engage. Like, let's say there's an Ana and McCree standing together in the backline, and you have an angle on them. Well, you probably shouldn't go after them unless you know that they've used both of their CC abilities, because if they have nade still, it's not that bad. If you get naded, you can just fade back. But you wouldn't want to fade onto them. You'd want to put yourself into a position where you can just go onto them with fade already. I mean, without using fade. And if you need to escape, you have fade. Fade is always an escape tool.
Personne n'échappe à mon regard.
I can't think of any time that it's not.
Restoring you. This is my will.
Okay, hold on, I'm not paying attention.
Restoring you. This is my
It's an
will.
okay healing, okay damage orb. I might have used it. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Oh, whatever. You didn't need the healing orb there. You did not need a healing orb. Let's see why. Okay, use a healing orb. Right there. No.
This is my will.
It's a little hard to navigate this sometimes.
Oh, this is my jam.
Okay, so you get hit. Your Lucio uses amp. You're getting a lot of health here.
Regenerating your
You're
cellular
at
structure.
170, and then you use a healing orb
This will
at
heal
your
you.
full health team.
Get in there, Bob.
Helden sterben nicht.
So, I think the reason you did this is because you were low before, and you were just very afraid that you might get burst down with your already low health. But this isn't really thinking ahead, this is just thinking in the present. Before you throw an orb, you should really consider whether you can throw a damage orb or not, because damage orbs are always better to use. Like, you want to default to throwing a damage orb every time. You get moral charge. That's pretty much it. Like, I think you just didn't really take into account that you were already full health. I think you got hit by a ton of damage, and you just expected that the rest of your team was probably low, so you turned around through a healing orb even though it wasn't necessary. Another thing about when you're low health, consider whether or not you could get back to full health just using your right click and throwing a damage orb even though you're like 100 health. I do this a lot. Like, I'll be 100 health and I won't throw a healing orb. I'll throw a damage orb and use my right click to get back that health. Just because it's better. Like, the only thing healers have to watch out for is when they can't heal themselves. Luckily, Moira has like 3 ways to self-heal. She has orb, she has right click, and she has coalescence. You typically always want to use right click to heal yourself unless you have to use an orb. And that's situational, and it takes a lot of practice to get that down. Yeah. Oh. Okay. One thing I'm noticing here is you're healing more than you need to. So that's fine. Ball slams down Lucio, you heal him up. Cool. It's good to do some damage. Your Zarya is already buffered up by your healing. She doesn't need healing for another 4 seconds. Okay, you gotta target Ana. You have a pretty good spot here. Mercy comes out of nowhere. It's a good damage orb. The Ryan gets a nice shatter. Okay, this is a perfect opportunity. You have an orb lined up for the Ana. Ryan does not need healing right now. You should have been... Oh, yes, okay. So, if you had been damaging that Ana the entire time, she would have died. And I want you to see that. So if you had been right-clicking the Ana, she would be at about half health right now. Your Ryan throws a Fire Strike, and it takes down Ana's health. That would have killed her.
Fire at will.
So I'm glad I decided to look at that. You don't. It's I mean, you don't want to become a DPS Moira, but realize when your team just does not need any help, and you can go and do stuff. Do I want a VOD review command? What would that be? I mean, you can do whatever you want. You can add commands if you want. I trust you. But yeah, a big mistake with Moiras is damaging too much or healing too much. Or healing when it's not necessary, more or less. Yeah, that Ana could have died. Wait, where are we? Crap, I missed it. Yeah, nothing more here than just you weren't really respecting Widow's sightline. I wouldn't say that you didn't know she was there, but maybe you didn't expect her to hit her shots. That's totally valid, but yeah, I don't really have much to say here other than if the Widow deserves the respect, then definitely don't stand in sightlines. Or try not to.
They have been revived. There was a flaw in my approach.
Yeah, it looks like you caught that. Like you saw her just at the last second.
You're covered.
Bubble? Okay. You have ult here.
60 seconds remaining.
My ultimate is almost charged.
and face me.
Enemy contact. I'm restoring you.
Hello. Der Kampf ist noch nicht vorbei.
Your McCree's feeding. Awesome.
I require assistance. I will rebuild
Okay.
30 seconds remaining.
You need to be doing more damage.
So close.
So,
I can feel it.
okay, Widowmaker. Anyway, anytime you're not healing, you need to be doing damage. Because I see a lot of times where you're not healing, there's an enemy in your sightlines, and you're not doing anything about it. You want to increase your uptime. What I mean is, when you're not doing something, think of what you can be doing. Even if it's just using right click on a shield, at least it's something. Damage is always better than healing. Damage is always better than healing, but you don't want to let your team die. Yeah, just right click more.
Surrender to my will.
That's good. Really good damage orb. Well, I mean, damage orb placement could have been better. It doesn't really matter because the enemy decided to back out. That's fine. You made some space for your team. I'm gonna see maybe how this could have been better though.
30 seconds remaining.
Surrender to my
Okay.
will.
What I would have done is used Fade a little bit more aggressively. You had, so you want to use all the resources you have available to you, and while this position was okay, I would have faded to the right side of this choke. So you're creating some crossfire, and when the enemy decides to back up, you have a clear sight line of their path of retreat. So you can just chase them down. You do have to be watching out for the enemy Reinhardt's Shatter, but you know he used that last fight if you're ult tracking.
Surrender to my will.
You always want to use ult in the direction the enemies are retreating, so you can just make sure that you get the maximum value from that. The starting position of ulting is probably the most important part of it.
Allow me to repair the damage.
10 seconds.
Got you in my sights.
Your McCree's feeding again. Hold on.
Restoring you. Enemy contact.
Just like slow it down a little.
Got you in my sights.
I will unmake you.
Okay, I'd say that's probably your McCree's fault.
Fire at will.
Hold on.
No one can hide from
One thing I'd be interested in is where you used Fade previously.
30 seconds remaining.
I'm restoring you.
hello.
Okay, where do you use Fade here? That's more important than fading an ulting soldier. Okay, that was a wasted Fade. This is why you died.
Assistance. I will rebuild.
Wait,
30 seconds.
you get Fade back again. Hold on. Oh, I went back too far.
Surrender.
I have.
to my
It's kind of
will.
okay. I guess I'll say this. I haven't really been focusing on every single aspect of the gameplay because there's just so much to cover. But I'm going to be focusing on Fade usages for this part because I think that's why you died.
Restoring you.
Yeah, that Fade was not necessary.
Repair the damage.
10 seconds.
Got you in my sights.
I will
So this is something I haven't mentioned yet, but you never want to use Fade for anything except defensive usages unless you know that you're going to be safe for the next 6 seconds after you use it. And this repositioning usage here is what got you killed. I don't think you should have been in that spot to begin with, but if you're anticipating the enemy to push forward, you never want to use Fade as a repositioning thing, unless you're trying to save a group of your teammates because you're already out of position. So yeah, that's why you died there, in my opinion.
Fire at will.
No one can.
When faced with a setback, we must challenge our assumptions.
That was a good orb. Didn't really need orb for anything else in that moment.
Enemy
Hey, Doy Boy.
injured again.
You can be a little more aggressive here. Yeah, you do have to save your Widow. That's good.
From afar.
This is a mess.
I require assistance.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about this. One thing I probably would have tried to position myself a little bit closer to my Reinhardt. He was kind of feeding though. I don't know. I don't really have much to say about this.
I'm restoring you. Enemy contact.
Yeah, your team just sort of rolled over.
Hey,
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
There was a flaw in my approach.
today we find a new champion.
Looking at your comp though, no, you didn't really have any way to deal with the Tracer. Okay, yeah, the Tracer was a big issue there. Okay, so you definitely heard that was coming. You could have used Fade to avoid the damage that did without having to use a healing orb. Yeah, this is actually kind of important.
Getting to bit.
So you wasted an orb here, in a sense. Because if you had faded earlier and dodged the damage, you wouldn't have had to use an orb to heal yourself up. And you could have used the damage orb to get more ult charge. You already have your ult, but it's just an effective way to save your resources.
You grow weak. Barriers on you. Become Karula.
Helden sterben nicht.
You should have ulted earlier here.
Surrender to
And you should throw a damage orb. Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna tell you where I'd ult.
Get into position. Barriers on you. Become Karula.
The moment your Rhine gets in front, ult. Right now. Because you're expecting them to have Shatter. They haven't used Shatter in a long time. And you're gonna still play safe around this corner here in case your Reinhardt doesn't block Shatter, but you need to get your ult out there right now. Let's see how many seconds you wait.
Helden sterben nicht. Surrender to my will.
Okay, that's way too long. If you had ulted earlier, your Reinhardt could have been way more aggressive. I don't really care that your Ashe was low. If you just used your ult, you could have healed her up in a second. You wouldn't really have to worry about her that much. Yeah, just give your team an early advantage with that fight, and ult earlier. I realized a lot of people hesitate with their ults. It's completely normal. But the thing is, once you've mastered a hero like completely, you don't have that hesitation anymore. It just comes so naturally to ult at that point. So ulting early is usually always better with Coalescence. I don't really know too much about other ults, but yeah. You waited a little too long. That was expected.
This will restore you. On, Baby Yashi.
Okay, Zarya got antied. Okay, that's fine. Your team won. Not bad. Oh, weather command. That's cool. Thanks, Spectro. That's really cool. Okay, I need to focus. Okay. I guess I might have done a damage orb like that. It's not terrible. Trying to flash out the Tracer. It's a risky damage orb because you're probably not going to get a lot of value from it. Oh, this is bad. Is your Lucio anywhere near beat? No. What the hell was that noise? Okay, listen to that again. Okay, let's see how you died here. Maybe you could have saved. Okay, understandably, you're fading away from the visor. Okay. I guess I might not have faded that direction. This is such a mess. It's kind of hard to even tell. Okay, you get booped in. Soldier ults. That was a good time to fade for sure. Except, okay. Maybe you could have... Okay, so what I'm seeing is you're not really thinking about what's going to happen next in this fight. You're sort of just escaping the fight, escaping the abilities that you have to escape in that moment. So you should realize that when you put yourself in this position here without Fade or Orb, you're extremely vulnerable. The only chance you have at living is to fade back to your team. I definitely would have faded back instead of into this little cubby here where the enemy can easily rush in and kill you. Let's see what happens. I mean, we already know what happens, but you end up dying. Both of your tanks are still alive. you should not be dying before both your tanks. So I would definitely say that if you faded backward instead of fading, I would call it fading aggressively when a fight's not won, then you probably would have survived. Because that's your Bob. Your Bob was there, that's creating space for you. So you kind of had 3 tanks that you could have faded to.
Hello.
But you faded to the small room over there.
Get into position.
Should be able to keep him up here.
Repairing the damage. Repairing the damage.
Wait, I think I just went forward here. Hold on.
I must reflect.
Hello.
Get into position.
Looking at your Zarya.
Repairing the damage.
Yeah. So you definitely knew your Zarya was over there. I would have been a little bit further up with my positioning. You can normally do this very easily when the enemy team is focusing on another target. Like sometimes I'll just stand behind the enemy because I know they're going to focus down my main tank. They were very clearly going to focus down your Reinhardt there, or Zarya, whoever was ahead. You could have positioned yourself a little bit farther up. They don't have a Widow, they don't have a Hanzo. You can't get one shot here. So you could be a little bit more aggressive so you can get the healing done. Definitely save Fade. Hold on to that. Because if you're going to play aggressive, you need Fade. Okay, actually, let me look at this again. Okay, I think you used Fade in an appropriate spot here. Actually, wait.
Get into position.
Sorry. I'm moving around too much here. Okay, let's look at this again. I'm gonna look at your Fade usage.
I must reflect upon this.
Hello.
Because that's been an issue before.
Get into position.
Those 2 Fades are totally fine. Those 2 Fades are just getting back to the objective.
Repairing the damage.
Here. You did not need to use Fade there.
30 seconds
Diva
remaining.
online.
Yeah. So I wouldn't have used Fade there because you needed healing, your team needed healing. You could have just thrown a healing orb to heal yourself up. It's a little iffy just because the Zarya was so far forward. I don't know if you could have saved her. I'm just gonna move on.
Slowly they realize that failure is all that awaits.
This is a good healing, damage orb. Don't need the Tracer Verse to rain into that.
I'm restoring you.
You have ult here though.
Surrender
Nice.
to my will.
The payload is approaching its
Focusing on too many
10
targets.
seconds
Their
remaining.
inevitable defeat.
Yeah.
Reality.
You focused on, I think, just about the entire enemy team there. You should have been focusing on one
I'm
target.
restoring you.
And let's see who that target would have been.
Surrender to my will.
The payload is approaching its destiny.
Okay.
10 seconds remaining.
The target that you should have focused on here would be the Ana, because that would take both healers out of the fight. Well, you could have also focused on the Mercy, but I would choose Ana just because focusing on Mercy, she has greater movement abilities and can sometimes just escape the beam. If you focus on Ana, she's going to be super disoriented and maybe not land her heals, maybe focus on healing the wrong targets, whatever is the case. Yeah, I focus on Ana. You're gonna distract the Mercy from what she has to do. You're focusing on far too many targets here. Tracer? No, Tracer can easily avoid Coalescence with blinks. Unless you have like perfect tracking and flicking and all that. Generally, you don't focus on Tracer because she can just escape, and then you've wasted your ult. If you can get a healer, that's optimal. Of course, you probably wouldn't have killed the Ana. The Ana could just nade herself or whatever, but you're going to disrupt them enough for your team to push forward. I'm going to see about where you put a damage orb.
Preparing.
Ugh, okay.
restoring you.
You are waiting for your orb. That's good.
Surrender.
That's a good orb spot.
The payload is approaching its
You got soldiers
destination.
so low. Yeah, so there's really no point in using a damage orb unless you're going to get value from it. This is meaning that you're going to stack the orb with your ultimate. You always want to stack those abilities. Just throwing an orb and then focusing on another target that the orb is not hitting, you're going to waste that entire orb because it's just going to do 50 DPS and you're outdoing your 70 DPS elsewhere. You definitely want to focus on where the orb is going. So yeah, I would have focused on the Ana the entire time. And you can be more aggressive with your positioning because you have self-healing. Ooh.
Oh, let's break it.
One thing I'm noticing, you're not playing around corners at all. This is not what you want to do. On any healer, any healer you play, you want to focus on playing around corners so that you can escape instantly without even having to use abilities. And this is partly the reason that you're being focused so hard as well.
This
Oh, let's break it.
That's a really good beat. Oh my god. Okay. I'd say you're switching between targets a little bit too slowly. Like when you either need to focus on one target and be very precise and get rid of that target quickly, or you need to focus on the right targets and move around to whatever your team is looking at. I don't know, that it's kind of difficult because there's no callouts here, but you aren't really providing a ton of value in terms of damage to your team when you're switching targets around and not really staying on them. You're mostly just healing your team, pretty much, in my opinion. So you could get more value if you just really either stick on a target to damage or just make sure your team is at full health. I don't know. I guess I see downtime. I see times where you're just using right click in the air and you're not hitting anyone, or you're using healing and you're not hitting anyone, or you're just not doing anything. I would say just focus on reducing that downtime.
unsight. Allow me to repair the damage.
Round one. Complete.
Helden sterben nicht. Get in there, Bob.
Score 0-2. Switching sides.
Okay, I might as well just finish it off.
Science will reveal the truth. You seem in need of aid.
Wait. Sorry. It's so easy to get distracted. Healing orb. Okay, that's a... I think that's totally fine to use a healing orb there just because you were a little bit late coming out of spawn and your team had already started the fight, so totally acceptable healing orb usage there.
You seem in need of aid.
Ryan, your Ryan is playing a little... Oh wow, yeah, your Ryan is really too far forward. He's just feeding so much. Yeah, he had to hold his shield up during the times he was being swung at. Okay.
I need to recharge.
You used way too much healing on 200 HP targets. Just a second. No, you weren't that late. You weren't that late. Oh, you swapped to Mercy to help your ass deal damage, but didn't want one? Okay, that's understandable. I'm saying that the healing orb was okay there because of that reasoning. You're wasting too much healing resource on your 200 HP targets. Mostly with the low health targets or low health pool targets, you want to just spritz them with heals unless they are desperately needing of healing and they need to be healed up that instant. Otherwise, you want to save a majority of your heals for your tanks because your squishies did not need that many resources. Also, I think I saw you using a lot of resources just in the air.
You seem in need rage.
But yeah, I think your Reinhardt was a little bit too aggro here. He didn't really... He got out-Reined. I'll say it. Yeah, you're just holding down your M1 button.
I need to recharge. The power
Yeah, I hope that's clear that you should be pulsing your heals a little more if you're gonna go for healing different targets like that, because when you're scanning to the next target, you're just holding down M1, wasting all the healing. I haven't said anything about your healing usage because it's been really good throughout this entire game, but just that one instance.
Your strength ends.
Nice, your team cleaned up. And there's a Hanzo behind you, that sucks. Let's see how this goes. So you know he's there, you probably called it out, or someone on your team knows yeah, they know he's there. Okay.
Enemy contact.
It's definitely not your job to go after him, so I'm glad you're not doing that. However, if you see him out of position, you can definitely go for him. That's unlucky, the Hanzo just got a kill. Yeah. Their Hanzo just won them that fight. He created so much space. So yeah, that was fine. I don't really think that what you did there was bad. Your team got so distracted by the fact that Hanzo was behind. You lost your McCree. The enemy decided to push forward. People are still turning around like, oh my god, the Hanzo's behind. What do we do? You couldn't really keep them alive there. They were all spread. Yeah, their Hanzo just won them that.
Restore you. Join with me.
Payload stopped. I hear you.
Okay, Hanzo's down. I guess the only thing that could have happened differently is if your entire team went after the Hanzo, which is unlikely in anything below like top 500 GM. So, well, their Hanzo's smart.
Touch from afar.
Nice. Now, when dealing with Riptires, what I'll typically do is pressure the Junkrat to using it when I want him to use it, which means you don't back up from the Riptire, you actually walk directly at it. So you can pretty much time when the Junkrat's going to use it if he falls for the bait. When you back up from the Riptire, it's more on the Junkrat's terms when he's going to use the Riptire. But if you walk towards it, you are I don't know, you sort of are in more control of when you're going to be in range of the tire. You weren't really approaching it or backing off, I think, but that was cool that your team,
This will
you
improve your
and your
condition.
team put in enough damage to kill it. Yeah, it was a good fade too. He definitely could have killed you
Surrender to my will.
if he had he ulted sooner, but it's difficult. It's difficult for both sides for that to get that timing correct. Wow.
My keen analytical mind detects.
Yeah, this is good positioning. This is actually really good positioning because your Ashe got a good dynamite off. Their team's gonna be super flustered.
Restoring you.
Nice.
The payload moves with certainty.
Good positioning. Your Ashe did a ton of work there. Good. That was a really good damage orb. Yeah, so typically with damage orbs like this, you predict where the enemy's going to be and you throw an orb where they're going to go. That was pretty much exactly that. You don't want to throw a damage orb at an enemy. You want to throw it where they're going to be in in a couple seconds. Sometimes that spot is going to be the same place. This is just general advice. But then sometimes that spot is going to be them retreating or moving forward. So you predicted that the enemies were going to fall down onto the orb. It was good.
I will unmake you.
The payload has
Yeah, okay, cool. You're fading after the fight's won. That's fine. Totally okay. That Mercy needs to die. Don't let Mercy escape. Okay.
I'm on
Payload's on
fire.
the way.
You'd be wise to stay out of my sight.
I would have focused down that Mercy really hard there.
Smoke 'em out of there.
Like, I would not have turned away from her to go focus the Reinhardt. On the off chance that she gets healed up when she flies back to her team. Hey Jerry. How's it going? Good playing around the corner here. Something I have noticed, it's not the worst thing in the world, but definitely will help you out in higher ranked games, is fading Earth Shatters. It just takes practice. I don't know how much, I mean, reaction time helps, but if you know the Shatter's coming, it's fairly easy to dodge. I'm not going to say like easy, but easy for I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah, you want to ult track, make sure you know the important ultimates are when the important ultimates are coming. Earth Shatter is a big one. Grav, not quite as important because you can fade out of it, but the stuns like Earth Shatter are really important to get down fade timings for. You're usually really good about it, fading them. No, it's I guess it's more general advice than I don't really have much to go off of, unfortunately. Hanzo is flanking again. This is a problem. This is a big problem. Yeah, flanking DPS who are that consistent is pretty scary, and it's not really your job to deal with that. Even though you sometimes can. That's just annoying to deal with.
Your injuries are fascinating. The payload moves with certainty.
Yeah, EMP is even more telegraphed than Shatter in my opinion.
I need healing.
But it's not, for some reason it's harder to dodge for me.
Surrender to my will.
Okay, that's fine. This is a good ult. This is a very good ult. That nano just saved them. You were very smart to back out when they nanoed the Zarya. She could have melted you.
Healing and restoring you.
But also, I'll say one thing.
Surrender to my will.
I'm gonna look at your target focus. It's very important with Coalescence, especially when you're targeting these low health targets. Okay, you're on the Ana, you're on the... Ana goes out of sight, then you're on the Mercy. You should... Okay, you're back on the Ana now.
Get in there, Bob.
My strength unleashed.
I guess it doesn't really matter because they naded, but you should be focusing on the corner. How do I even say this? I don't have a cursor. Oh, yes I do.
My strength unleashed.
So like, you're kind of aiming on the right side. You should be aiming as close to this edge as you can, because that's where you're going to hit the people that are kind of behind the wall here, who are trying to hide. And you have to be really tracking those health bars, because you can see the McCree is like 1 health right now, but you're focusing on whoever's on the right here. I can't even tell who that is. May? I don't know. But yeah, I feel like you could have gotten a kill here. Maybe just 1 kill. If you'd been focusing the corner rather than more the right side here. Yeah, you just be really aware of where all the enemy's health bars are in this point. It's Ana. Oh yeah, it is Ana.
This will restore you.
You should have been up with your tanks there. There was a Mei wall, but your team didn't need healing.
I can't restore.
It's a good damage orb. I like that. That was a good aggressive... Yeah, I'll say why I like that. So you were being aggressive, you were taking focus fire, but you had fade available, so when you took the right amount of focus fire, you could fade away, and then your team could move forward with the enemy having to refocus. So that was a good play, to just play a little aggressively right there with your positioning. What's this grab going for? Okay. What happened with the grab?
at will. Helden sterben nicht.
Wow, it's like when you check your watch and forget what time it is.
Fire at will. Helden sterben.
Okay, I'm genuinely curious what happened with this grav. Okay, how do I get out of here? Okay. Huh? Is that... That's your grav. Make noises. How did this happen?
Огонь по готовности!
What the hell?
Helden
Огонь по готовности!
Helden sterben nicht.
Yeah. I don't think that's how the game's supposed to work. Whatever.
We're being stalked.
Kiwi, thank you so much for the host. I appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, we're analyzing some gameplay and came across a very strange grav. Okay, well, I guess.
I will not be denied.
I
Yeah,
understand.
okay.
The payload is approaching its destination.
Rest in peace.
This is my will.
Maybe ping? I don't even know.
Victory.
Okay, well. Let me think. Let's just like pause here so I can talk. The orb compliment was play the game. Nice. So one of the big issues I see is fade usage. I mean, it's not a huge issue, but just saving fade until never using fade aggressively. I mean, I'm kind of restating myself. I already went over this point a lot of times. And slightly better target priority and target focus in Coalescence. Yours is really good, but if you want to get way more kills, you're gonna have to be really vigilant about who's low health, and really making sure the beam is hitting those targets. What else? Orbs are generally good. I saw some healing orbs that weren't needed, that's for sure. But other than that, maybe spend a little longer aiming your orbs to make sure that they're going to get value. There's so many things that are in this game that you have to focus on. I'm just like making sure I'm covering everything. Orbs are generally good. I want to see less healing orbs and more self-healing through your right click. I only saw that like 2 or 3 times though, so it's not even that big of an issue. Aggressive positioning. So when you don't use fade a lot, you can be more aggressive with your positioning. So if you practice not using your fade when you don't have to, you'll probably naturally acquire a more aggressive playstyle because you'll always have an escape when you need one. I find that there's very few instances where, unless my entire team has died, I need 2 fades. Like, I feel like 1 fade. I'm trying to figure out a way to voice this opinion. Pretty much, I feel like Moira's fade ability can get her out of any situation unless her entire team is dead. So if you're properly using the ability, you're going to be able to be aggressive as you want and escape abilities. Because a lot of the times I'm dodging abilities, I'm using just movement in general to dodge them rather than using fade. Because fade is for the really big abilities or when you're like 1 health. It just comes from practice and discipline of using those abilities. What else? Am I missing something? I don't know. Okay. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I know I don't really have a structure to do these VOD reviews. So I hope that's good. Yeah. Well, I hope that helped. I think that was pretty good. I think that was a pretty good review. I think it was also a great game to review because you're doing a lot of stuff well, but then you're also doing some things that can be improved. So, okay.